Let's talk tactics. Champions League edition. Excited for this. Love the Champions League. Bayern Munich versus Shakhtar. The next Bayern coming off the back of a draw. A win against Stuttgart, a draw against Schalke, and a big loss against Wolfsburg. How will they play against the resilient Shakhtar? Let's talk tactics, Champions League style. If you want to check out the goals, make sure to click in the link below. They'll be annotated after the game. Otherwise, stick around because I'm going to break down how these teams are going to play against each other in the world's best competition. So, first and foremost, FC Bayern. Coming off, they did manage to bounce back in their win against Stuttgart, but they did draw against Schalke and had that huge loss that shell-shocked the whole footballing world against Wolfsburg. And I'm going to talk first and foremost about their formation that they line up with. So, let's take a look here at their formation that they had in their last game. They usually go with what is a 3-4-3 and toy between a 3-4-3 or a 4-2-3-1. I'm not a big fan of this 3-4-3 for Bayern Munich, and I'll tell you why. So, first and foremost, Dante. Don't think he's a strong enough defender to play as part of a back three, and he's partnered there by Benicia as well. Sometimes Boateng's back when he's fit. But the reason I don't think this is a strong formation in the Champions League is if you look here, what happens against teams such as Wolfsburg is when they're playing against teams who are fast at attacking from wide areas, which Shakhtar happen to be with guys like Luis Adriano. When they play, they shift across. Dante, for many times against Wolfsburg, was caught right in this area, and this leaves gaps here and here for teams to exploit. So if you've seen against Wolfsburg, the first goal came from Dots making his run across here. The ball was in this area. Wolfsburg done a great job of manipulating the ball across, and they were left with all this space to attack, and Wolfsburg managed to take a lead. And if you look at Shakhtar's way that they play, they attack from wide areas, and they make runs diagonally right across, and they'll cut those gaps off. If Bayern Munich play with a 3-4-3, although I still think they would be successful against Shakhtar, I think they could be susceptible to conceding a couple of goals there against a team like Shakhtar, who are good at counter-attacking and good at dispossessing. So I would go with a 4-3-2-1 for Bayern Munich. So this is the formation I think Bayern should play. It is the formation they played against Roma in that massive victory they had in Italy against Roma. It is a 4-2-3-1. And the reason why I like this formation is because you provide adequate cover, obviously, on the flanks, and that will kind of isolate Shakhtar to kind of go through the middle, which is where Bayern Munich are strong because you've got the likes of Schweinsteiger and Xabi Alonso. Despite having injuries to Javi Martinez, at the moment Xabi Alonso and Schweinsteiger will do a good job of holding the defensive midfielder role and allow for Götze to play an attacking role. Then you've got Robben. Ribery is doubtful, but you've got plenty more players to come in there for Bayern Munich. They've got an absolute abundance of players. You can toy between putting Mueller on the flank and having him cut in up there with Lewandowski, who is their star striker at the moment, number 9. So the reason why I like this formation is because it allows this man not to worry about defending, because when they play a 4-3-3, he has to work his way back and he has to cover these areas because there's a big gap in there. Even if they've got a right midfielder here, you still need to work back. Whereas if you play a 4-2-3-1, it allows Robben to do whatever he wants. And you know what Robben's good at is he gets himself wide, cuts in, and he's got that diagonal shot into the corner that he's mastered. And if you look here at Arjen Robben's spotlight, the reason why you want to try and focus on one of the world's best players, in my opinion, is because he can add an abundance of goals. If he scored there against Stuttgart, he scored their goal against Schalke. They don't have to score against Wolfsburg, but look at his goal-scoring form. The guy is on fire. Use that left foot to your advantage, and trust me, I think he'll be on the score sheet against Shakhtar if they're able to use him without having to worry about him tracking back and defending. So that's how I think Bayern Munich should play. Let's look at their opponents. Shakhtar the next, and we are happen to be joined here by Joaquin Reyes, who is our Shakhtar correspondent. Joaquin, what can you tell us about Shakhtar?
Well, Shakhtar are coming back off an extended winter break. Their league isn't in session during this time, and so they have a lot to take into consideration when preparing for the Champions League. So they did a tour of Brazil during January and followed that after returning to Ukraine to do another trip to Spain. They played 4 matches, 3 wins, 1 draw. Good preparation, getting ready for that match against Bayern, and it looks like they're ready to go. So they're going to be playing in Ukraine, which is a little bit controversial right now because of the controversy and the danger in Crimea. But they're playing in the Ukrainian national stadium in Lviv, which is on the other side of the country. So they've assured that everything's going to be safe and okay to go, and UEFA has said that they're good to go. So what we see from Shakhtar, it's going to be interesting. They have really good inverted wingers. We're going to see a lot from them. Tyson and Douglas Costa offer a lot of pace on the break. So look to them to be a really good attacking threat, as well as their Luis Adriano, their star striker.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Joaquin. And that's right, he makes a good point. The game is first and foremost, first leg is in Ukraine. It's a kind of dangerous area to be around. It's going to be a cauldron to play in, let's be honest. It's not going to be the same as what Bayern are used to at their home stadium. But most of these league leaders in the previous round want to play the first leg away because then they can go back with an advantage of their home crowd. And I imagine that Bayern Munich won't be going out there to try and overcome Shakhtar with a 3 or 4-0 win. I think they'll be going in business as usual, trying to get a 1 or 2-0 win. But they have to be wary, as Joaquin said, to Shakhtar's attacking ability coming wide into their main striker, Luis Adrian, up top. And if you watch guys like Tyson, he's so fast. And he manages to attack inadvertently from wide through the gaps. And this is where I think that Bayern Munich need to go with a 4-4-2 in order to counteract that, because they will be susceptible to those gaps, because Dante gets caught wandering. He's got that Brazilian frame of mind. He is a good defender when he's structured, but as you've seen in the World Cup, sometimes those Brazilians wander to different areas when they should be holding their central position. So I think it's going to be a very interesting game. However, as I've talked about in my Champions League predictions clip, make sure to check that out, I think that Bayern Munich will overcome Shakhtar even in Ukraine. And I can imagine that Bayern Munich will leave Ukraine with a 2-0 victory going into the second leg. That's my prediction. We want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the section below. Really excited to bring you Champions League coverage. We love it here at TYT. Make sure to subscribe. Thanks again, guys.